I think most of us already knew that this game was going to be trash. I think most of us already knew we wasn't getting much from this. Yo, what up, guys? It's the Gaming Zone bringing you your daily gaming news. And in today's topic, we have more Dragon Age Veilguard news, as the YouTuber with over 7 hours played in the game describes it as a thin coat of paint. So without further ado, let's get into it. Dragon Age Veilguard described as a thin coat of paint and borderline soft reboot. YouTuber Neon Knight, who claimed to have played over 7 hours of Dragon Age the Veilguard, describes the game as a thin coat of paint. In a recent update to YouTube, Neon Knight says, "So with Dragon Age the Veilguard, there's been a lot of attempts, in my opinion, to convince the general public that this game is something that it really isn't. To convince you to reject the evidence of your eyes and your ears and what you've been seeing in the trailers and previews, and believe that the Dragon Age DNA in Veilguard, specifically its gameplay, is anything more than a very thin coat of paint." He continued, "And as someone who played the game for about 7 hours a few weeks ago, well, I guess my thesis statement here is that it isn't. A thin coat of paint is more or less exactly what Veilguard has to offer longtime fans, and serious, level-headed discussion about this game is completely hammered by what seems to be an almost universal refusal to just say that out loud." From there, he shared that the game will be compared to God of War 2018. He said that the game's combat and exploration is full-blown, or at least 85% of God of War 2018's worship. The new Dragon Age is all about action, building up a rage meter to release an ultimate, getting your perfect parries in, shield throws, talismans that activate special abilities, plenty of pots to break and chests to open. You get it. Point is, someone really liked God of War 2018 and said, why don't we just do that and be done with it? Next, he noted that the game will also be compared to the Guardians of the Galaxy video game regarding its tone. He said, "This is the point in the video where some of you recoil in horror and maybe projectile vomit, but it's also the point where at least some of you are probably thinking, hey, those two are not bad games at all. You could do much worse in terms of comparison. And yes, if you're thinking that, I completely agree." However, he noted, these two games are not what Dragon Age fans are expecting as a Dragon Age game to be compared to. There is no denying that the Dragon Age fan base of just 6 months ago would have torn that imaginary person apart for merely suggesting such a thing. Yet ultimately, that's the type of game that BioWare have made here. He went on to claim that BioWare tried to make a very palatable game here that could appeal to everyone instead of directly targeting their own fan base and hopefully breaking out from there, the ideal approach in my opinion. Veilguard as a quippy action adventure is trying pretty hard at times, and it has its moments. It's just that quip action game is not what most Dragon Age fans were asking for. Next, Neon Knight shared that he is incredibly disappointed when he found out that Dragon Age Veilguard, you need to import a grand total of, wait for it, 0 choices from Origins, 0 choices from Dragon Age 2, and just 3 from Inquisition, the game that Veilguard is a direct sequel to. As for the choices from Inquisition, he shared that the only thing that carry over are who your Inquisitor romanced, whether you choose to disband the Inquisition or whether you choose to stop Solus. BioWare are doing this very strange with Veilguard. On one hand, it's a direct sequel to a bunch of returning characters and prominent roles. Yet on the other hand, it's a borderline soft reboot trying to minimize every direct tie to the past in an attempt to avoid scaring off non-Dragon Age fans. Later in the video, he described Veilguard as a very linear game, or at least feels that way 99% of the time. He says, sure, from the lighthouse-based operations, you could decide what mission you want to do. I don't believe things are all forced in a specific order, but ultimately once you're doing a mission, which is what you're going to be doing most of the time, you're being funneled down by a set path with little offshoot here and there to find some gear or an optional enemy, maybe. Wow. So what do you guys think about that? Please leave your comments down below. I think most of us already knew that this game was going to be trash. I think most of us already knew we wasn't getting much from this, and a lot of long-term Dragon Age fans were disappointed just from the trailer alone. I don't think it's surprising that this game is as bad as everyone thought it was going to be. I mean, it is what it is, right? But that's all that I have for you guys. If you like what you heard and you made it this far, please subscribe and hit that like button. If you didn't like what you heard and you made it this far, go ahead and hit that dislike button. It's cool. It's cool. I am the Game Is On, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.